Okay, so I wanted to make this video very quickly to show you guys why we probably won't see a Zero A Press video for this stage, which is he came from outer space, at least non-TAS, with current strats at least. Of course, we can get better strats, we can find out some other stuff, but at least with the current strats that I know of right now, Zero A Press is possible, but extremely unlikely. Extremely unlikely. So, first off, I'm going to do something here which you can already see that some weird stuff is going on. And what I'm going to be doing is, I'm going to show off this. Does do some really weird stuff to the buckets. So basically what I've done is, I've just taken one of the buckets, and I've placed one of the buckets on top of the other bucket. And by doing that, both of them get linked up. And if you link up both buckets like that, and then somehow manage to stand on top of the other bucket, which you can do by trying to cram it into the wall like this, and trying to do some weird stuff. It is possible to do it, but it is very difficult. So I might just take a few tries to do this correctly, but I want to show this off. There we go, and we're off. Welcome to bucket flying. This is bucket flying. As you can see, stuff is happening on screen right now that might not be very... it might not make a whole lot of sense, but it works, and it does stuff, and it goes a bit crazy, as you can see. It. I mean, stuff is definitely happening on screen right now, more or less. Okay, good. I wanted to get up here. So yeah, that's bucket flying. Basically, you link them up, you link both of the buckets up by having one bucket stand on top of the other bucket. And then once you've done that, you stand on one of the, on the other bucket that is linked up. So maybe I should go a little bit more into detail. So when you put one bucket on top of the other bucket, basically the game is saying that these two buckets are now linked, where if you're carrying the bottom button, if you're carrying the bottom bucket, the top bucket sort of has like this invisible link to the bottom bucket that you're carrying, and if you move the bucket somehow, that link that gets retained. And so like right now I moved the bucket around a bit, but it still has this link in it. It still has this link, and it keeps following it like that. So what I can do is, if I manage to get on top of that secondary bucket that that is floating around in midair like that, what happens is, since I'm stepping on the bucket, sorry, since I'm stepping on the bucket, I'm moving upwards. If I'm moving upwards with the bucket in my hand, the bucket gets moved upwards. But because the bucket I'm carrying gets moved upwards, the bucket below me gets moved upwards. But if the bucket below me gets moved upwards, then the bucket I'm carrying also gets moved upwards. So you see, that's where the flying comes from. It's like this weird chain reaction where you get moved upwards, so the bucket below you gets upwards, which moves you upwards, which moves the bucket below you upwards, and so on and so on. You can even fall into it like that. You're still carrying it, which is pretty interesting. So now I want to make sure to somehow make these guys stay around. So now we're gonna scare this guy. So first off, the first thing we need to do, which we can do in real time, as you just saw, we can totally get both of the buckets up here. It's important to get them up here and then scare the guy, because the problem is, now there's this like giant depth field below us, and as you can see, if we fall down anywhere, that stuff happens. Now, we can actually sort of go down here a little bit. You can like sort of go down these stairs, but you can see it's not that simple, because the buckets really don't like behaving, and they do weird stuff all the time. So what we'd have to do now is we'd have to do exactly what I did on the other location, where I used these stairs. Stairs are the easiest way of doing it, but not the only way of doing this. So it's somehow possible to get below these stairs and not get voided out. I had it happen a few times, so it's not actually that simple. Okay. I didn't void out. I'm not actually certain if you can reach the entirety of Mafia Town from down here, but it's not too important if we can, because we will have access to places where we can do this. Not too difficultly. It's not too difficult to get access to places where we can set this up. It's just really finicky. It's extremely difficult. Like, I mean, I got it fairly quickly the first time, but trust me, this is not easy to do, because it's very finicky how these buckets work. So the idea would be we once again get on top of one of these buckets somehow, like that. Try not to void out, because if we void out, what happens is the buckets are still linked, but it might be difficult to retrieve them. Right now we can still retrieve them, as you can see, we can still retrieve it. But if you're voiding out in a place that is not very close to your other bucket, like if you get voided out, you get teleported back to this place, like here, right here. And if after the teleport, your second bucket is really far away, you'll probably lose that second bucket and you won't have access to it anymore. So we will have to do bucket flying, not lose the second bucket, not accidentally voiding out. So we have to somehow maneuver around the invisible void zone, fly up into the sky, okay? We have to fly up into the sky as like the hat kit with standing on the bucket, okay? So we are flying into the sky at supersonic speed all the way to the top over the void zone. After that, we are spinning at like 5,000 RPM. Somehow land, okay? You want to somehow land somewhere around here. Like we can scare this guy before we do it. We scare this guy first, okay? We come over here, scare this guy first. And we can actually go back right here without voiding out. And now we do bucket flying. So now that we do that, we do bucket flying all the way to this into the sky, all the way through the stars even, not just the sky, all the way to the stars, into outer space even. We fly into outer space, and then somehow, like, don't ask me how, because this is not gonna work in real time, or at least it might work in real time, but it's not something that I'm willing to try right now because I have other things to do as well. I'm gonna use a press here. I mean, this is just for showing stuff off anyway. And we somehow have to land while bucket flying on this small platform. We have to somehow land on this small platform, scare the mafia, okay? After scaring the mafia, we need to then somehow, don't ask me how, somehow keep flying, okay? Keep flying on the buckets and get all the way over here. Oh, nice, first try. Get all the way over here, scare the guy again, keep flying somehow. It just, I don't know how, but somehow, after scaring the guy here, keep flying again, and then land over there. Now, if you haven't done bucket flying yourself, I mean, you could kind of guess from what happened when I did it. It's extremely difficult to have any sort of control over it. It just behaves however it wants to behave. Like, if you're standing still, you're usually spinning at a high velocity going upwards, then you like take a step forward or take a step backwards, left and right, and suddenly you're going all over the place, ping-ponging around. And this is why I say this is probably TAS only, because I have no idea how to control that. Now, it is maybe possible that we get really lucky and we're actually possible to land or even get really high. Like, imagine we shoot ourselves into the sky. Maybe in the sky we throw the bucket away, okay? We throw the bucket away in the sky, stop flying, and then we somehow land on that area over there where I'm looking towards right now, where we have to scare the guy on top of that little tower there. So let's say we do that. We can still actually do this in 0 presses without the bucket. Bucket flying past the first tower is not actually required. If I were TASing this, I would definitely do that, because that would be amazing. But let's say we're trying this real time. Let's say we somehow managed to bucket fly our way onto that little tower over there. Now, if you want to do this in 0 presses, what we're going to have to do, first if we do the regular strategy where we go up here, okay, and this does not require an A press, obviously. Come up here, do this, blah blah, get over here. And the problem that we have right now is we somehow need to get over there. Now, jumping over to that platform is actually possible with the strats that we have right now, where we tap the ice hat while moving forwards, do a jump somehow. Like, it's really hard to do because you have to like tap it while walking off the edge, which is not very easy to do. It's actually fairly difficult. Oh no, it's got it twice in a row. Nice. So you have to somehow do that, where you walk off the ledge. I'm gonna try one more time. You have to somehow walk off the ledge, and while walking off the edge, do the ice set, this right here, and then make it on top of this. Now, this is so extremely weird to do, because I keep trying this, and even if I get the frame perfect ice hat, the FIH as I called it, even if I get FIH, what happens is, sometimes I just fall so short that I don't even grab it. Sometimes it looks like I'm almost there, I'm almost on top of it, but I still grab the ledge. And sometimes I just smack right my face into the ledge. So it seems like even if I get the perfect FIH input while walking off the ledge and doing my best to do the dive, somehow it's still quite a difference between distances and heights that I get. Like, it's very finicky to actually try and get the perfect height. Now, I've actually done this once. I've practiced for like 30 minutes on that jump, and I've done it once in 30 minutes. I've done that jump once in 30 minutes, okay? So it is possible, okay? I'm gonna do a press right here just for showing stuff off. Now, after that, we have to do something similar right here, but at least this jump is a lot more lenient. This jump is a bit more lenient, though it's still fairly difficult. Like, this is another jump that maybe you get like once in 10 tries, maybe. Yeah, so not only do we have to somehow bucket fly our way over to that tower over there, which could be possible in real time, we then have to do 2 jumps, one of which took me 30 minutes to do once, because it's so finicky, and then another jump that I fail like 80% of the time. And because of all that, right now I'm saying that, yeah, maybe not in real time. I mean, it's possible, it is possible to do it real time, but it would take so much work and effort that I'm not really certain I want to do that, when instead we could task it. But we actually can't task it because there's no task tools right now. Maybe if there are task tools at some point, like imagine at some point we find out how to task hat in time, we could totally do it in 0 A-presses, and we would totally do it with bucket flying. That would be absolutely amazing if we do it with bucket flying. I think that would be something that everyone would want to see. That would be something like worthy of even a Pan and Cook video, or even that tier of amazingly weird stuff to do that. Like, yeah, imagine that. Yeah, in order to save A-presses in this stage, we can either, oh no, we can turn off VSync, unlock FPS, boost ourselves off a light on the ground to do 1 jump, and then we're gonna step on top of a bucket while holding a bucket, which causes us to spin at 60,000 RPM, catapult into space, and then we just use that to fly around. I mean, that would be pretty amazing, but it's probably not gonna happen. Now, I want to mention something very quickly as well. If we do the bucket fly all the way here, there is actually an easier way to do it, at least in 1 A-press, where you can do a jump right here, where you do ISAT, double jump, and then go over here, and then try and hit that wall, which is weird because, or we don't even need to do that. What we could do just in general is, you can just go up here. I mean, we can go up here without an A-press, and then just, do the jump from here, 1 A-press, and then after this A-press, we try and do this jump from here, which is, like I said, very, very finicky and fairly difficult, and I fail it like 80% of the times, but that would be another way of doing at least 1 A-press. And we do the bucket fly, and then we do 1 A-press to get over to that suspended platform, and then we go over. Like, we couldn't do that, but yeah. That's at least something to show off to you guys why I think that 0 A-presses is definitely in the realm of possibilities for this, but it's so incredibly weirdly difficult that it's probably not going to happen in real time unless we really figure out how to get this a lot more precisely. Maybe even figure out how to get more distance more reliably. Unless we can do that, 0 A-press, possible, but not going to happen in real time. So yeah, that was that. Just thought I'd make a different video that is still pretty much about the 8-button challenge, but not just here's the run and here's how the run works, but more like, yeah, this is what could potentially be possible, and giving a bit more insights into the whole affair of the entire thing. So yeah, that was that. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next time.